Well, thanks for joining me today for this edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM The Word. I'm Roberta Foster, and today I welcome Shelley Shepard Gray to Author's Corner, and she's written the book Unshaken, and it's published by Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group, and she'll tell you more about how to find the book at the end of the program. But before we get into what the book is all about, here's a little bit about Shelley. She is the New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of more than 100 books, including Unforgiven and Unforgotten. She's a two-time winner of the Holt Medallion and a Carroll Award finalist. And so, Shelley, thank you so much for being with us today on Author's Corner.
Oh, thank you so much, Roberta. I'm delighted to be joining you today.
So with 100 books, do you cross a variety of different genres, or tell us more about the style of writing that you are most common, or, like I said, is it across a whole variety of different genres?
You know, I have written a lot of books, and sometimes I'm just like, oh my goodness, I remember being so scared that I would never publish my first novel. So sometimes it just takes me a minute just to be like, goodness, I've had quite a career. But to answer your question, I do write. I usually write for several publishers. I'm currently writing for 3 publishers at the moment. And I do kind of cross some genres. I obviously, a lot of people know me for writing romances about the Amish, and I would say that is kind of my main focus. However, I enjoy writing contemporary sweet romances for different houses. I've also, along the way, have published some historical novels.
Okay.
So just what I love to read, and I love to write. So whatever catches my interest is I try and give it a try.
Well, the foundation of this book is suspense novel, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and the fact that you are blending Amish fiction and suspense in the same story.
Yes, it definitely is a suspense. Actually, all of the unbooks, Unforgiven, Unforgotten, and Unshaken, all have a little bit of romantic suspense.
Okay.
And they do take place in an Amish community. And it's just something I enjoy doing. That's about all I can do to describe it. For Unshaken, it kind of starts off with a bang. A woman, an Amish woman, witnesses a murder, and for a variety of reasons, she's kind of whisked away from southern Ohio down to southern Kentucky in order for her to stay safe, since she is the only witness. Mm-hmm. I happen to, for many of my books, I think it's because I know so many Amish well. I usually think of a story that maybe could happen to anyone. Obviously, it's fiction, and not everybody witnesses a murder and goes on the run.
Right.
But as I started this, I just thought this would be a fantastic setup for an Amish woman in a romantic story.
Revealing a little bit more about the theme is that this Amish woman is actually thrust into witness protection. So what kind of research did you have to do to come up with how that is handled?
Well, luckily, I have written several romantic suspense novels in the past, and some of them even that were Amish-centered. Years ago, I wrote a trilogy set in Crittenden County, Kentucky, and it was called The Secrets of Crittenden County. And I did a lot of research for those 3 books. Unshaken, as well as the other books, also take place in this area. Along the way, I've kind of been a pest. I've contacted law enforcement people. I had a neighbor of ours that he was a cop in Cincinnati for many years. I've had someone else that I knew who was an investigator in Colorado. So it's amazing what you can find if you ask questions and do the research.
Yeah.
So that said, these books, I love to write them, but they're kind of tricky for me. You want to have it right, and so a lot of times, we went through quite a few revisions just to make sure that it did make sense and it was believable, and I was as true to form as I could be with a work of fiction.
Amen. So the life of your protagonist changes very dramatically after she witnesses this murder that you had mentioned. How does this incident challenge common perceptions about the separation between the Amish and the English, and the fact that the Amish are a nonviolent society?
I really did take a lot of, I guess, common perceptions of the Amish and twist them a little bit. True is that I live near Holmes County. I'm about an hour from there. In Holmes County, last I checked, there were 40,000 Amish.
Wow.
You take 40,000 of any group of people, and you're going to have a variety of feelings, backgrounds, opinions, motivations, goals. And so I feel a little bit, I don't think people realize just how many Amish there are in our country, and they're all different. So for that, it was, I didn't have too much of a trouble imagining the separation. When you go to Holmes County, like I do a lot, you can go into the library, into the grocery store, into the Walmart. And everyone, it's not an unheard of thing to see the Amish waiting in line at the self checkout, just like you are, or they happen to be on the computer in the library because they're doing something for work. Sometimes people, I've found, would still love to imagine that the Amish have no idea about technology, cars, computers, you name it, and that's really not true. They choose to live apart, but they're not ignorant about the ways of the world. For my novel, Stephanie, the protagonist, the real reason she is able to go on the run and trust so many strangers is that she's had a difficult life, and she doesn't trust the police, and she doesn't necessarily trust the people she's living with. I did that on purpose because if she had a great life, loved everybody, was completely sure that anything she told the people that were raising her that they would they would support her, I think the story would have been much different.
Yeah, definitely. Well, today I'm talking with Shelley Shepard Gray regarding her book Unshaken, which is published by Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group. And you're listening to Author's Corner. I'm Roberta Foster. So, Shelley, tell us a little bit more about how you incorporated the elements of faith and protection and even finding strength in unexpected circumstances. How did you weave that into your book?
Oh, I really enjoy doing this. The faith and is the cornerstone of every Amish person I've met. Their faith, and so it just runs through. I loved having Stephanie be. Everyone at first glance thought she was just so just kind of helpless, and she wasn't. She was strong. She had a strong faith, and that strength and her belief and that God would help her and help everyone through there just transferred to all the other characters in the novel, and she made a mark on them and helped them increase their faith, and I enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed having the other characters, even my antagonist, Timothy, who is the person who did murder someone else. He has his own point of view, and he is struggling to find his faith also.
Amen. So we see through the book that you have protection as a theme in your book, obviously, and it comes out in a lot of different ways, both through man and through God. Give us a little more insight into that.
Yeah, there's 4 characters. There's Stephanie, who we've been talking about, my Amish girl on the run. Then there is the person who finds her and kind of encourages her to leave quickly. Mm-hmm. And her name is Bev, and she's a social worker, and she was Timothy, my bad guy, for lack of better words, former social worker when he was in the foster care system. To round out this quartet of characters is Hardy, who ends up becoming the hero and the love interest of Stephanie. Hardy is not Amish. He is former military, and he is Bev's brother. And so they all are kind of linked, and they all have strengths and weaknesses. And I worked hard as I was writing this book to make sure that each point of view was fully developed and also kind of played against each one. I don't think this book would have been the same if I would have omitted one of their points of view.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of different characters, but the characters were all very vital to the storyline. That was for sure. I enjoyed reading the book a whole lot. And so with the fact that you've written 100 books, I would imagine you're probably working on something else now. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your next project is going to be?
Oh, yes, thank you. You're right. I always am working on a book. And I'm currently working on the second book of a new series for Revell. I'm not sure what the title of this book is, but the first book in the series, well, let me backtrack here. The new series is called the Amish Widows Club. Okay. And the first one, I believe, is called An Unexpected Caller. That's the name of the novel. And what it essentially is it's going to be a trio of some women that are widowed and some at different ages, and it kind of turns out that maybe they aren't real keen on getting married again. And then, of course, something happens. But it's a little bit like a secret society. And I have never met an Amish Widows Club, so I made this one up. But I'm enjoying it very much. And so that's something I'm working on. I always write more than one book at a time, and I happen to be working on D is for Daisy for Another House. I'm just going through the alphabet of Amish books, and so we have C is for Courting that comes out in October, and D is for Daisy will be coming out in I think spring of 2026.
Wow. Well, that just is amazing to me at the same time to be writing so many books. I'm impressed when people are reading multiple books at the same time. But to be the author of it, that's truly astounding to me. So anyway, today we're talking with Shelley Shepard Gray about her book, Unshaken. And so, Shelley, tell us how people can connect with you and find out more about the books you've written and, of course, Unshaken.
Oh, thank you. I have a website, and it's ShelleyShepardGray.com, and on it has a nice little tab with books, and anyone could click on it and see all the books, and they're divided neatly into series and the order, so that might be helpful. Also, I have a nice newsletter that comes out just about once a month there. If someone isn't interested in the website, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, and I have a Facebook group, and it's called Shelley Shepard Gray's Buggy Bunch, and people can join it, and I post there almost every day.
Fantastic. So one more time, the book is Unshaken, and I've been talking with Shelley Shepard Gray. We certainly do thank Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group, for giving us a copy of the book to talk about. Shelley, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, Roberta, thank you all so much for having me. It's just been a real treat to get to talk about the book.
And to our listeners, if you'd like to hear this interview again or possibly share it with someone else, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform or through kneo.org. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join me again next time.